Let's walk through Boomcaster together. Once you log in, you will be taken to the dashboard screen here, and you can see any previous recordings or upcoming scheduled recordings, or you can create a new session. For the previous recordings, you'll see this marker here tells you how many files there are available to download. And if you click on the arrow to the right, you can see that the files are here. You have one file for each person. These files record in the Chrome or Microsoft Edge browser's cache and upload while the stream is going on, so that it is actually a recording on the user end. It's like a double ender, as if you ask the guest to record themselves, but they don't have to do anything. All they have to do is click the link. So on this demo that I did yesterday, there is my recording, and if you click on the three dots on the right over here, you can either download the lossless WAV file, which is what I as a producer use to edit, or you can download a full high-definition MP4 file of the video and the audio for each person separately. So this will be full-screen video for each person. There's also a web recording that gives you a composite of both people on one audio track. That's just an MP3. It's not a WAV file. This I use as a backup just in case for some reason something happens and the client file doesn't upload, which is very rare to happen. And if for some reason they close the window too soon, you can send them a link, and the upload link will access that browser cache, which should be there unless they force quit the app or if they clear the cache or reboot their computer. That recording still should be there even if they close the window before it finishes uploading. But you have this backup here just in case. And then you have a video that will be a recording of what you see on the screen, and it will correspond to the layout that you choose, which we'll go over that in a minute. So I love how the user interface on this has everything in one place. It has your recordings, it has the upcoming sessions, and in the enter room, you can copy the link to share it with somebody. When you click create a session, you can name it. So let's name this demo 3, and then you set a date. Either if you want to go right now, you just set the date to right now. Okay, and it chooses your time zone. I'm in Central time zone here in Nashville, Tennessee, and then you choose the duration, but you're not locked into this time. I can go back and open a previous session and send people the link to that old one. This is just the earliest possible that you can start the session, but it's nice for sending the actual emails to your guests. So here's where you can invite your guests, and I can invite myself, enter my email. This is the email that your guest will receive when you send the invitation through the Boomcaster interface while you're creating a new session. You'll see their name will be auto-filled in the greeting. The name of the session will also be there, so you can have your podcast name, the date and time, and then your personal note will appear right here. So if you have any special instructions, you can include them right in the email here. And then the link to join the session. And I love how they include the prompts to make sure you're using Chrome or Edge, which are the two supported browsers for Boomcaster. And then they have these nice tips, how it works and how do I prepare. And then there's an attachment so that they can add this to their own personal calendar with all the event details and the link. To me, communication is the hardest part of this process of dealing with guests who are remote, since I'm having to make sure that their setup is adequate for getting the best audio quality possible. And I love the attention to detail that's gone into making sure that the guests understand everything that I need them to do. You can always just copy the link and send it to them manually in your own email. Then you can connect your YouTube channel. You can see I already connected mine. So since it's already connected, I can just choose to stream or not by entering a title and a thumbnail image. I can either do it to private, public, or unlisted. So in order to link your account, you just click this and it will just give you a login screen, and you'll just log into your account, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. If you're on YouTube, if you have multiple channels, you can choose which channel you want to broadcast to. And then you just save the session. And once you hit record in the session, it'll go live to whichever platforms you have chosen. But we're going to do demo 2, which is what I set up already. And when you click enter room, you can see here, and the guest sees the same thing. You have a place to enter your name. Then you can choose your audio interface, your external microphone, and your headphones, which headphones are a must, and then your camera. So The other thing is echo cancellation. If the person is not wearing headphones, echo cancellation is on by default, and they will probably leave that on unless you tell them not to. But you can change it in the session before you hit record, which I will show you in a minute. But I want echo cancellation off because I have headphones. So here's where you can choose to go live or not. So you can turn it on or off. We are not going to go live. Now we are entering the room. I'm going to turn my camera off so we don't get that psychedelic screen. And you can see here my guest is already waiting to join. They had already clicked the link before I started the actual session. They were seeing a screen that says the session has not started yet, and the host will let you in as soon as the session starts. And when somebody new pops in, if I were to be on earlier, this window for the lobby would slide out and to alert me that someone is ready to join. And I have to admit them, or if it's somebody that happened to get the link and I don't know who they are, I can reject them. But I'm going to admit our guest there, Mr. Dog Pillow, in my son's homeschool office. And you can see he's got a microphone. He's not wearing headphones, though. So let's see. Let's check our echo cancellation. Here in the bottom toolbar are the controls for your session. And you can see that the echo cancellation is on, which is good. Now, I can turn it on or off for either me or the guest before I hit record. If I do that, though, it's going to confirm and let me know that it's going to have to refresh my browser setting. And this is a limitation of Google. Once you do this, it will just refresh the browser really quick. For the guest, it will prompt them to refresh when you do it for them. This is where I can mute my microphone. This is where I can turn my camera back on for the psychedelic image. Here is the customization. So this is where I can tweak the layout. This is my favorite layout because it shows me in a smaller window and my guest in a bigger window. And then for them, it's the opposite. I'm bigger and they are smaller. But you can do like the traditional split screen. You can also do really tiny me up at the top and your guest big full screen at the bottom. Or you can do a smaller side by side, which is just a little bit wider usually than this shot. But like I said, I like this one. So keep in mind that this is what's going to be recorded to that composite MP4. Here is our banner, which you can choose the color settings and you can change your text anytime during the stream or recording. Once you enable it, it'll show up at the bottom. There's also 4 different shapes you can choose. The default, minimal, bubble, or block. I like the default. And you can see I've used my branding color for Podcast Audio Lab. I have also uploaded my logos. You can see I've uploaded my primary logo here. And when I enable that, it shows up in the top left corner. I can choose which corner to put it in. And it will remember this each time I create a new session. I can upload a new logo whenever I want to, if I need to do a client logo or something like that. But there's also a secondary logo that shows up in the bottom right, and I've got that set to my Me Only Louder branding. This one, it is fixed to the bottom right, though. You can't choose where it goes. Then, I love this. You can choose your background color as well. And I've just created this blue just to show it, but you can enable whatever color fits your branding. And then there are these intro audio or video clips. So this is for if you have a pre-roll segment, if you have ads and you're doing live to tape, or if you're doing a live stream. You can play this as soon as I hit start recording. Whatever file is uploaded here will play. It can be a video or just an audio. In addition to the intro audio and video, which is only going to play when you hit record right at the beginning, you have this media drawer. And here you can upload an audio or video file just like a mid-roll ad. Or if you're doing a presentation, you can do a pre-recorded video that shows a special ad or a demonstration or something like that, which is really handy. So that is all the customization tabs that you have access to during the recording and stream. Let's continue with the buttons along the bottom here. We have a basic chat, just like pretty much any other streaming platform. You have chat that's going to the live stream, and you have chat for the studio. Then you have your settings. Now, frequently I'll have to ask my guests to access this to make sure they have the microphone selected. And this is just like when I started the session. Let me turn my camera back on here so you can see me. So you can have them adjust their mic settings or headphone settings before you hit record. You can always adjust your headphones if for some reason they selected the wrong output and it's coming through their speakers, but they don't realize it. You can have them change to their headphones anytime. Actually, during the recording too, you just can't change the microphone. And the Boomcaster team just recently added this great feature, this little eye right here, information. This allows me to see as the host what device my guest is using, which is really handy for me because more often than I would like, they end up joining with the default built-in microphone of their laptop, which is not ideal. Even when they have their external mic, they just happen to not pick the right thing. And so here I can double check and make sure it says their external mic, which my guest here does have. And I can also verify their camera and their headphones and see what version of Chrome they have and what operating system they're on. So I can tell them if they're a Windows user or Mac user where they need to go to make any other adjustment settings on their microphone volume and that sort of thing. So up here on the upper left, I have options to mute my guest mic, turn off their video, or just remove them from the stream altogether. And continuing with our buttons along the bottom, down here we have the raise hand icon, which is a really nice feature that I like, that you can passively ask to speak next so that you don't talk over the other person, but you let them know that you're ready to add something to the discussion. Another thing that's great is you can invite a participant right from this window. So if you're doing a live stream to YouTube and you want a caller to call in and join you, you can send them this link. And then finally you have end call. So when you're done, this is how you close the window and return back to your dashboard to access the files. So the only thing left to do now is to start recording. We've got our microphone verified. I can see that my guest is all good to go. Even though they're not wearing headphones, they don't have headphones. So I've got echo cancellation on for them, which is good. And keep in mind that with the echo cancellation, whenever I'm talking, it is likely going to turn them down just a little bit. So it's really important not to talk over them when echo cancellation is on, and making sure that the guest is aware of that as well. All right, so let's start recording. And here, once again, you have the option to choose whether you're going to live stream or not. And I'm going to leave that unchecked. All I'm going to do is my local recording. And let's proceed. Ready, set, and here we go. We are live. If we were streaming, this is when it would show up on YouTube, but you can see there's a little red icon denoting that local recording is on. If you don't see that red dot, that's where you know there's a problem. You would need to have them try to rejoin. You can see down the bottom left here, there's a timer telling me that recording is in progress, which is great. And then you have the stop button for when we're done. Here again, you have your echo cancellation, but now you have this nice new feature that Boomcaster has added where it's showing me the rate at which the files are being uploaded. And you can see for some reason, mine is a little slower than the guest. Once we're done, I don't want to end the call. I want to stop recording first. I love these alerts that they've included that remind me as the host that I don't want to hang up until the recording has finished uploading. It shows up for the guest as well. And you can see here that both files have completely uploaded. So now I can say, okay, thank you so much for being my guest, and I will see you next time. And now I can end the call, and I do want to return to my dashboard. And now you can see here there are 2 files available that are processing. There will be a 3rd file that will appear after these 2 files have processed. And it usually just takes a few minutes, depending on how long your files are. Now, keep in mind, you have 100 gigabytes of storage available for the monthly subscription fee. And then if you go above that, they'll invoice you accordingly, a prorated amount. But you can always delete these files. You can see that's what I do here. I've deleted my other client files to keep that space available for my next recordings. And I make sure I have multiple copies on my local hard drives and in my cloud storage service. So now once the file is available, I can download whatever I would like. I can also play the video right here in the browser. And that is a very, very nice feature. Instead of me having to download the file, I can see how it turned out and whether or not I actually do want to download it. Let's go through the configuration really quick. One of my favorite things about Boomcaster is how simple and clean the team has made this design. It's very, very easy to use. And you can see at the top here, there's not a whole lot of settings. You have your social media destinations, your 3 options to link. And this matches what shows up when you create the session and when you are about to go live. Then the middle section is the same thing you see in the customization tab within the session. Here's where you can go ahead and upload your logo files before and prepare beforehand what you want the banner to say, get your colors all set, upload your intro and outro video. These are your default layout options. So every time you start, this is what it'll default to. Here's where you can choose your background color. And then here's where you can upload your media file. And you can only upload one media file at a time. Then down at the bottom, the last setting is your audio and video recording type, or you can choose audio only if you don't want to record video to save some bandwidth. You can also choose your resolution quality. 720p will be the most efficient at uploading and not take up as much space in your account. But I have it set to 1080p because that's what my camera is. A lot of guests will only have a 720p camera anyway, so 720 is usually plenty. I don't recommend doing 4K unless you have a very special case where you need that ultra high quality video. That really bogs down not just the stream, but also your storage, and in editing, it takes a lot more processing power. So 1080p is plenty for this type of talking head video. And then the only other thing that I want to point out here on the configuration page is the preview button, which is really, really nice. You can see here, you can preview what it's going to look like. So you can test out your colors and your video and all that stuff. And you can choose up here, you can have up to 6 people on screen at a time. So you can have up to 5 guests and you as a host. You can also have a producer. There's a producer option to where you have someone like me who is not going to need their camera recorded, but they're there monitoring and making sure that everything is running smoothly. And the producer is also handling maybe the layout changes and that sort of thing if you're doing a live stream. And this is how it looks for the different layout options. So you can test those out and figure out beforehand which one you want to go with, depending on how many users you have, which is nice. Just a great touch just to test things out before you're actually there with guests on screen. Then the other things you have here in the dashboard are your account settings for billing, referrals. If you just refer someone for a free trial, you get $5. And then if that person pays for a subscription, you get $20 towards your account. And then the Get Help is the great knowledge base that has all the FAQs and instructions. And then the bottom right is the live chat if you need support, and it also will email you. So that is Boomcaster, my favorite way to record both video and audio for my clients' guests that are not in the same room with us.